welcome back to another video here on my channel, Help You Rain. Today I'm doing a VR again to Saturnarium, following up on the last VR that I did of hers. She did a part 2 kind of, where she spoke about her not so obvious least favourite cards. So basically cards that most of the time generally people seem to really like those cards, and she spoke about the sort of flip side to them, the darker aspects of those more positive cards, and why she might not like always to get those cards. So I picked out some cards that I think are generally quite liked, and I've got some notes on why I don't particularly love to get these cards all the time. So the first card that I wanted to mention is the Magician card. So I just picked out 2 Magician cards that I have. So people generally love this card because it's a great card for mastery, a great card for manifestation, a great card for confidence and working magic, etc. There's lots of reasons to love this card. The reasons that I might not like to get this, particularly in a more challenging position in the spread or even reverse, sometimes this card can mean that you're unbalanced. The Magician always has all the elements on his table, and he's able to master, if you like, all of the elements, and that's what makes him such a great manifester. On the flip side, I feel like this could be a sign that you're really unbalanced when it comes to the elements. Maybe you're a bit too emotional, too much cups energy, or you could be too in the mind, too much swords energy, and it really is about, in a way, a science. And science can be quite difficult sometimes. It has to be exact, and that for me can be quite annoying. That's one of the reasons I'm not a huge fan of the Magician card. Another maybe more controversial reason that I'm not a huge fan of the Magician card all the time is it is such a masculine energy, and in fact I always see the Magician as a male's area. It's the shaft. He really gives me that kind of energy, just like, sorry about the dog rustling, but just like the High Priestess also reminds me of a woman in the same sense. Very feminine and very sexual in a feminine way, and I find this very sexual in a masculine way. If you think about a man who's feeling aroused, if it can be used for the good and it can be used for the bad. If it's not directed somewhere with intention, it can cause problems. It can be very distracting, and that's another reason why I'm not such a fan of it, because I think if it's in a troublesome position in the spread or it's reversed, it can also represent that kind of arousing energy, that masculine arousing energy that can be very distracting, especially, like I said, in the wrong area, reversed or in a destructive position. Another reason why I struggle with the Magician is it represents the planet Mercury, and Mercury is obviously very swordsy, very airy and very cold in a sense. And in my birth chart personally, my Mercury's in Cancer, so it's very flooded with all that water. It's not particularly happy there, but it makes me a very emotional speaker, emotional person, emotional communicator, and I feel like there's none of that element here in the Mercury that's within the Magician card. It is very cold, very concise, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that can also turn me off this card in a sense, and I've never felt strongly drawn to it in that sense, and because of all these reasons. But it's not that it's bad overall. Of course, many people love the Magician card and they work very well with its energy, and I think it definitely has its place in the deck. It definitely has some great aspects, but these are just some things that I think maybe you don't think about so much, and it's something to think about when it comes reversed or in a negative placement in the spread. The next card that I'm not a huge fan of is the Justice card. Here are some Justice cards that I have. So people love the Justice card because it's balanced, it's truth, it's integrity, it's many great things, of course. But when reversed or in a negative position in the spread, there's a few reasons why I'm not a huge fan. Just filming a video before the sun goes down because I get light in. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So I feel like when this is in a negative position in the spread, it can often point us in the direction of karma, and often people don't see their own karma in a situation. They'd be happy to get the Justice card and think, yeah, well, everything will turn out right. I trust that justice and karma will play out and things will be fair. But what we don't often see is karma could be being played out on you, and you are forgetting why. Maybe if something that we're seeing as bad is happening to us, or we're feeling hurt, betrayed, and we're waiting on someone else to get karma, we're not seeing that us being hurt and betrayed in the first place is our own karma. And that could be coming back from past lives, that could be coming back from other situations in your current life, but it really should bring us to a point where we can really look at ourselves and think, well, this has happened to me, and how can I be humble? How can I not wish karma upon the other person and instead see I'm getting a kind of karma myself here, and sitting with that. So it really calls us to sort of sit with our own punishments as well in certain positions in the spread. So one of the other reasons that I'm not a huge fan is because the Justice card can often bring us to really look at how biased we might be being in a situation. Are we taking the side of something just because it's for our own interests or the interests of our loved ones? It can be very uncomfortable to face the fact that we might be being biased to the situation and not really looking at it from a non-judgmental or unattached perspective. Are you really stepping into neutrality and unattachment and looking at the situation, or are you really looking for your best interests and the interests of your loved ones? It can make me feel quite uncomfortable, as it can anyone, because that's definitely a hard thing for us all to face and accept, and be able to not always take our own side, and that can be difficult. And that's one reason why I'm not a huge fan of this when it comes up in negative or difficult positions in the spread or reversed. The next card that I'm not a huge fan of is the Knight of Wands, and a lot of people do love the Knight of Wands, so I'm not surprised. You can't ignore this energy. People love it for adventure, they love it for confidence, that restless pursuit of the Knight of Wands, and people love this. Some of the reasons that I dislike it though, I feel like the Knight of Wands, when it's representing a person, can give me the vibe of love 'em and leave 'em. Basically a user. I really do think that in a negative position or reversed, the Knight of Wands can definitely represent someone who uses you, will use you and leave you, and only care about their own interests and satisfying their own needs. And when you don't satisfy them anymore and they have no more use for you, they'll be off like the wind and you won't see them again. I also think of all the cards in the deck, the Knight of Wands represents the narcissist more than any other card. And this is just my opinion, but sometimes I think in a negative position, this can really give off that energy of a narcissist. So the last reason that I'm not a huge fan of the Knight of Wands is it is the combination of air and fire. And most people would say air and fire is one of the best combinations, just as earth and water is. Yeah, it is. But another thing about air and fire, and especially with this moving Knight of Wands energy, is air will spread a fire. Bushfire, a forest fire will spread quickly. It's very much air and fire energy. But in social situations or in certain situations, that's not so great. And I find this could represent someone who really overshadows the whole group and really takes over and really makes everything all about them, and that energy can be really tiring and quite toxic. So that's the last reason I'm not a huge fan of the Knight of Wands. And the next card that I want to talk about is the Three of Wands. People love the Three of Wands. It's all about expansion, enterprise, business partnership. Some of the reasons that I dislike this when it comes up in a negative position or reverse is it can sometimes remind me of sharks. And what do I mean by sharks? I don't mean the kind in the ocean. I mean the kind who seem like they're trying to help and getting involved in your business and trying to be a helping hand and partner up with you, but really they're out to get you. They're out to take from you, and they're out to swindle you and do you over. And when this card is in a negative position, I often think about sharks. Another reason I'm not a huge fan is this is a sign that things are going great for you. They're really working out from your plans of the Two of Wands, and they've become successful. They're happening. It's going well. But often when things are going well, we can drop the ball. And this card isn't about pushing forward particularly. It's about being in that place of running a business, of running the situation, of it going well. But it's not calling for you to expand and create. And this can often be in a negative position. It could mean things are starting to go stagnant, and are you dropping the ball? Because those highs don't last forever. We have to keep pursuing them. And it could be a sign that you have dropped the ball. And the last reason is it's a number 3, and 3 is change. It's that first change in all the numbers that comes in for us. But the Three of Wands, for some reason, it doesn't have a huge feeling of change because things are going so well. And just like I said in the previous example, it's easy to forget that you need to create, you need to make change. 3 is a creative number, but where things are going well, this doesn't have that oomph that I feel like other 3 energies have. For example, the Empress, all about creation and creating things and that change, you know. But with this, not so much, and it is in there, but I think it can be easily forgotten in this particular card. The last card that I want to talk about is the Nine of Cups. And yeah, like, what can you not like about this? People love it because it's your wishes being fulfilled. Success, satisfaction. Like, it's such a great card when you look at it from the positive side. But when you're going to look at the negative side, these are some of the things that I really dislike about the Nine of Cups. I often think that too much of a good thing can easily lead to a lack of gratitude. And gratitude is really important, especially in witchcraft. When this is in a negative position, it definitely shows a huge lack of gratitude, which just pretty much stinks. Be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it, and you might reveal that what you thought you wanted, you don't actually want. And that can pretty much be a bummer, that realizing, like, I really wanted this, and actually now I've got it, I don't really want it. It really reveals that sometimes our desires can be nothing but illusions. The last reason I'm not a huge fan of this card is it can be a sign of overindulging. which can then lead to many unpleasant things such as addictions to food, addictions to drugs, addictions to sex. And you can pretty much find yourself just trying to fill a bottomless cup. And that can be quite a sickly cycle and can really cause harm on your health and your life. So the Nine of Cups definitely has a dark side. That's all the cards that I have for you guys today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please definitely go check out Saturnarium's original video. She had so many amazing insights. I learned so much. Highly recommend it. And I look forward to possibly seeing any more VRs. I think this is a really interesting subject. Thanks for watching, guys. Definitely leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts on my answers. I'd love to hear from you. And I hope to see you in the next video.